It's Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. This is day 5 of the US and Israeli war in Iran, and today brought the kind of headline that belongs in a history textbook.
What happened?
A US submarine torpedoed and sank an Iranian naval ship in the Indian Ocean off the southern coast of Sri Lanka. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth confirmed it. This is the first time a submarine has torpedoed a ship since World War II. 30 crew members survived with serious injuries. 140 are still missing.
The first submarine torpedoing since World War II. Let that sink in. No pun intended. That's 81 years.
And it wasn't the only naval action. The US Central Command says it has now destroyed 17 Iranian ships, including a submarine, since Saturday. General Brad Cooper said, and this is a direct quote, "Today, there is not a single Iranian ship underway in the Arabian Gulf, Strait of Hormuz, or Gulf of Oman." Iran's navy has effectively been wiped from the water.
Meanwhile, the strikes on Iran itself continue.
Israel announced this morning that it has begun what it's calling broad-scale strikes targeting Iranian terror regime targets in Tehran. This is the 10th wave of attacks since the joint operation started Saturday. The reported death toll in Iran has now surpassed 1,000. 45. According to the Iranian Red Crescent. The US says it has struck more than 2,000 targets in 5 days.
Over 1,000 dead in 5 days.
And today, there was a direct attack on shipping. A container ship, the Maltese-flagged Safine Prestige, was hit by an unknown projectile while transiting eastbound through the Strait of Hormuz. The UK Maritime Trade Operations Centre confirmed it. Fire broke out in the engine room and the crew abandoned the vessel. Shipping through the strait has largely ground to a halt.
There was also a NATO intercept.
A ballistic missile fired from Iran heading into Turkish airspace was destroyed by NATO air and missile defense systems over the eastern Mediterranean. The Turkish Defense Ministry confirmed it. That's a NATO country almost getting hit by an Iranian ballistic missile. If that missile had landed on Turkish soil, we'd be talking about Article 5.
The escalation ladder just keeps getting taller. What about the succession fight in Iran?
So Iran's Council of Experts met yesterday to begin choosing a successor to Khamenei, and according to the New York Times, citing 3 Iranian officials, Mojtaba Khamenei, the late Supreme Leader's son, has emerged as the leading candidate. Officials said there were discussions about announcing him a successor as early as today, but some expressed concern that doing so would make him a target. And those concerns are well-founded. Israel already bombed the Council of Experts building in Qom yesterday. An Israeli defense official confirmed it was an attempt to disrupt the succession process. Trump commented from the Oval Office, quote, "There was another hit today on the new leadership, and it looks like it was pretty substantial."
So Israel is literally trying to kill the next supreme leader before he's even named.
That's exactly what's happening. Israel has publicly announced that whoever becomes the next supreme leader will be an, and I'm quoting, unequivocal target for elimination. They're not even pretending otherwise.
Meanwhile, the CIA is apparently opening another front entirely.
CNN is reporting the CIA is now working to funnel arms to Iranian Kurdish militias in an attempt to spark an internal uprising. Trump reportedly spoke to the president of the Democratic Party of Iranian Kurdistan, which Iran classifies as a terrorist organization. The strategy appears to be destabilize from the inside while striking from the outside.
What are senators saying after their classified briefings?
This was one of the most alarming developments of the day. Senator Richard Blumenthal walked out of his briefing and said, quote, "I am more fearful than ever that we may be putting boots on the ground." Then Senator Elizabeth Warren posted this. "I just left a classified briefing on Iran. And here's what I can say. It is so much worse than you thought. You are right to be worried. The Trump administration has no plan in Iran. This illegal war is based on lies, and it was launched without any imminent threat to our nation. Donald Trump still hasn't given a single clear reason for this war, and he seems to have no plan for how to end it either."
That's extraordinary language from a sitting senator after a classified session.
And the administration's own rationale keeps shifting. Secretary of State Rubio walked back his earlier statement that the US struck Iran because Israel was going to do it first. Now he's saying it was about Iran's growing arsenal. The Axios reporting is even more revealing. Netanyahu apparently called Trump last week and told him that Khamenei and his top advisors would all be in one location Saturday morning. The CIA confirmed the intelligence, and they decided to take the shot. This wasn't a response to an imminent threat. It was a window of opportunity.
Now here's where the day takes a turn. There's a Backchannel?
This is the twist. The New York Times is reporting that just one day after the strikes began, so Sunday, operatives from Iran's Ministry of Intelligence indirectly contacted the CIA with an offer to discuss terms for ending the conflict. Secret outreach, a Backchannel. Now, officials briefed on it say they're skeptical that either side is actually ready for an off-ramp right now. And there's a real question of who in Iran even has the authority to negotiate a ceasefire when so many senior figures have been killed. But the fact that the outreach happened at all moved markets.
Let's talk about those markets, because it was whiplash.
Absolute whiplash. Start with Asia. South Korea's Kospi index crashed 12%. That's its biggest single-day drop since 2008. Trading was suspended. Thailand's stock exchange was also halted after losses exceeded 8%. Japan's Nikkei fell 3.6%. India's Nifty 50 dropped 1.75%. Dubai and Abu Dhabi opened for the first time since the war started. Dubai down 4.9%. Abu Dhabi down 3.3%.
And then Europe reversed.
When the Backchannel report broke, European markets turned around. The FTSE 100 rose about 0.65%. The Stoxx 600 was up 1.5%. Germany gained 1.3%. Italy up 1.7%. On Wall Street, it was more mixed. The Dow was essentially flat, down about 0.1%. The Nasdaq climbed about 0.5%. Oil pulled back to around $81 a barrel after spiking past $84 earlier. Natural gas reversed too. European. UN futures fell 9.5% after surging 60% over the prior 2 days. One headline from a Rabobank strategist summed it up. Iranian openness to talk could help, but getting prices back to pre-war levels requires an actual cessation of attacks.
Now shift gears entirely. There were primaries last night.
The 2026 midterm season is officially underway. Texas, North Carolina, and Arkansas all held primaries yesterday, and there's a lot to unpack. In Texas, on the Democratic side, State Representative James Talarico defeated Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett in a closely watched Senate primary. Talarico ran as a left-wing populist, anti-billionaire, pro-working class. His victory speech, "This is a people-powered movement to take on this broken, corrupt political system."
And Crockett raised concerns about voter disenfranchisement.
Significant concerns. Dallas County Republicans changed the rules this year, requiring voters to cast ballots at their specific precinct rather than at county-wide polling sites. Hundreds of voters showed up to the wrong locations. A county judge ordered polls to stay open 2 hours late. Then the Texas Supreme Court stepped in and ordered the extended hours ballots to be held separately. Crockett, who's from Dallas and expected to do well there, said voters were disenfranchised. She ultimately conceded this morning and endorsed Talarico.
On the Republican side, it's going to a runoff.
Senator John Cornyn, the incumbent, got only 42% of the vote. Attorney General Ken Paxton got enough to force a runoff on May 26th. Congressman Wesley Hunt was the third candidate. This is already the most expensive Senate primary in history. Nearly $100 million spent, and analysts expect another $100 million through the runoff. The fundamental dynamic is old guard GOP versus MAGA pugilism. The big question, does Trump endorse?
Any other notable results?
Dan Crenshaw, the Republican congressman from Texas, the one with the eye patch, former Navy SEAL, lost his primary by double digits to a state representative. That's a big scalp. Another Republican incumbent, Tony Gonzalez, is in a dead heat runoff against a gun rights influencer. And, in North Carolina, the Senate matchup is set. Former Democratic Governor Roy Cooper will face Michael Whatley, who was Trump's Republican National Committee chairman. Cooper's already positioning himself as an independent voice who will work with Trump when he can, but stand up to him when needed. He's walking a very fine line in a state Trump won 3 times.
Before we wrap, one more thing from today that shouldn't get buried.
The Homeland Security hearing. Secretary Kristi Noem testified on the Hill and was grilled about the killings of Renee Good and Alex Pretty in Minneapolis by federal agents during a protest. She refused to apologize for branding them domestic terrorists. Senator Dick Durbin asked her directly, "Is it so hard to say you were wrong?" She pivoted to talking about officers following procedure. Senator Amy Klobuchar pressed her on armed agents in St. Paul battering down the door of a US citizen. No warrant. Dragging him out in his underwear in below zero temperatures. Noem wouldn't say it was wrong.
So today, submarine torpedoes, 1,000 dead in Iran, a NATO missile intercept, a secret backchannel, markets in freefall then recovery, the first midterm primaries, and Homeland Security refusing to apologize for killing protesters.
That's one Wednesday. Here's where we are on day 5. The US has eliminated Iran's navy. Israel is hunting Iran's next supreme leader before he's even named. The CIA is arming Kurdish rebels. Senators are warning about ground troops. Iran may be reaching out for talks. Markets swung from panic to cautious hope and back. The midterm elections have begun with drama in Texas, and the administration is stonewalling on accountability at home. There's a war powers vote coming. There are supplemental funding requests expected, and there's a country that is simultaneously at war abroad and arguing over what that war is even for. Stay informed. Stay sharp. We'll be back tomorrow.
Take care of yourselves out there.